Well, thank you, Brother Harris, and thank you, Sigma Phi Epsilon. I couldn't do it earlier today, and I can't do it justice now. I just truly can't express what an honor and a privilege it is to lead this great fraternity for the next 2 years. But from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. You know, 6 years ago, I was sitting back there when Grand President Steve Shanklin used a quote that I'd never heard before, but apparently he was quoting someone else when he said that we all stand on the shoulders of the giants that came before us. And I know in my case that is so true, because I follow in the footsteps of a great Grand President, Brother Bert Harris. Bert's leadership determination, and clarity of purpose have been a joy to observe, and I commend him for leaving this position with a fraternity that is better than when he began. And it turns out he can give a hell of a speech, too. So, Bert, you depart this board leaving big shoes to fill, but wide shoulders to stand on. And once again, we thank you. So I hope all of you have had an interesting year. It certainly has been for me. Frankly, it's been somewhat of a roller coaster, in fact. Mine really kicked off 11 months ago with a phone call that I'd dreamed about for nearly 20 years. My son, creatively named Philip Cox, who was a freshman at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, he called to tell me that he too had joined SIGEP. There's a lot of fathers in the room, and you all can relate. As a proud father myself, I frankly was happier than I ever thought possible, because I knew that North Carolina Delta would be his home away from home and become a second family for him, just like Indiana Beta had been for me. So now let's fast forward to this past February. And my life, frankly, was turned upside down in an instant, because I was diagnosed with a form of head and neck cancer. From that first appointment, when the doctor wanted to talk about odds of survival and treatment protocols, I had only 2 questions for him. Doctor, can you fix me in time for conclave? And will I lose my hair? His response, yeah, and oh hell yes. So I stand here tonight coming full circle, full of joy again, with cancer behind me, but with a tux that's a little too loose, a voice that's a little too soft, and a new hairdo that scares small children. But most importantly, I stand here with a renewed understanding of the power of brotherly love, the importance of what we do, and a passion to lead this fraternity even further down the path to greatness. In my limited time with you tonight, I'd like to touch on really just 3 brief topics. What can you expect from your National Board of Directors over the next 2 years? What can you expect from me? And, oh yes, what will I expect from you? As your National Board of Directors, we will continue the initiatives started by Grand President Harris. That work is far from complete. We will continue to focus on providing better support and direction for the Balanced Man program. It's fair to say that we're guilty of letting that aspect of SIGEP flounder for a few years, but that's no longer the case. Frankly, our Brotherhood Development Program is our product, and we need to work hard to make sure that it continues to be the best in the business. I believe an outstanding fraternity experience must be our goal for all members, not just our leaders. So improved personal development programming at the regional and chapter level, and a broad effort to improve the resources we provide chapters will be our mandate. And we will continue the hard work that's gone on behind the scenes to better integrate the SIGEP Foundation and the fraternity. This integration will lead to cost efficiencies and enhanced effectiveness in our fundraising efforts. With the cost of a college education continuing to skyrocket, and trust me, as a father, I know all about that. Out-of-state tuition, I might add. Damn it. Just kidding. We need to be aggressive in asking our alumni to support our scholarship and leadership training programs. Our vision is to be a valued partner in higher education. But those membership development programs and leadership development programs cost money, a lot of money. So we will renew our fundraising efforts and make sure our undergraduate brothers get the fraternity experience they deserve. And if I have my way, this board will continue to look for ways to do a better job recruiting, training, and recognizing volunteers at the chapter level. We know that behind every great chapter are great volunteers. We need to reach out, tell our story, and give more alumni the opportunity to mentor these outstanding young men. To the alumni and volunteers in the room tonight, I say simply, thank you. Your work at the chapter and district level is where the rubber meets the road. You put in countless hours and do things for the fraternity that no one ever hears about. I know, I've done it too. You deserve much more recognition for all your hard work than you ever receive. But you don't do it for the accolades. You do it because you know that SIGEP is different, that we're in the business of changing lives, and what you do is important. And you know what? You're right. So again, I say thank you. And I know it's been said before, but let me add that all of this is possible because of the outstanding staff we have at SIGEP headquarters in Richmond, Virginia. Our executive director, Brian Warren, is frankly a rock star in the fraternity world, and he's providing outstanding leadership to this fraternity on a daily basis. He's assembled a staff that's second to none, and they deserve our gratitude and appreciation as well for all of their efforts. So, what can you expect from me over the next 2 years? Well, for starters, you can expect to see me, maybe a lot of me. That's because in my career in the investment management field, I travel constantly for work. Over the years, I've dropped in on many a chapter and often called ahead to have dinner with the brothers. I plan to continue and accelerate that practice as Grand President. And when I come to your chapter and your campus, I'll be there to listen. I'll want to know what challenges you and your chapter face and how the fraternity can better serve you and help you achieve your goals. And when it's my turn to talk, it'll probably be about the Balanced Man program, sound mind and sound body, and our cardinal principles of virtue, diligence, and brotherly love. That's because I firmly believe that every challenge we face can be overcome if we truly live by our principles, especially brotherly love. You see, the brotherly love of this fraternity changed my life. 30 years ago, the loving arms of SIGEP were wrapped around me. It took a small town boy and taught me how to be a man. Since then, I've had more than a lifetime's worth of laughs, reunions, boys' weekends, and the constant camaraderie of my fraternity brothers. I know what brotherly love is, and the friends I've made have had such an impact on my life. For an example, for the last 20 years, my Monday morning always starts with a phone call to my good friend and District Governor Joe Langella. After reviewing our weekends, I tell him about all the great things that SIGIP is doing, and he tells me about all the ways we're screwing. Well, he tells me how we can improve. And it was many years ago when my good friend, your grand treasurer, Chris Bittman, gave me my first big break in the investment industry. That call from Chris changed my life, and I am forever, forever grateful to him. But that also means I knew Chris long before he was grand treasurer. As a journalism major, nothing to do with finance, he would pull out his checkbook and say, "What do you mean? The bank tells me I'm broke. How can I be out of money if I still have all these checks left?" Luckily for us, he's learned a few things since then. But brotherly love is not just about the good times and the good friends. Sometimes brotherly love is what gets you through your darkest days too. For example, this thin red and purple string bracelet around my wrist was made for me recently by one of my chapter brothers, a 50-year-old man. He made 20 others and sent them out to our fraternity buddies when he heard of my recent diagnosis. He said the red and purple threads represent the fraternity, which is the thread that has tied our band of brothers together for the last 30 years. And as each of those guys came to visit me this summer, one by one, every one of them was wearing their red and purple bracelet. And it was the case nearly 10 years ago when my older brother, James Allen Cox, who was a SIGIP also, died from a heart attack in his mid-40s. At his funeral, just before the service was to begin, as I was standing near the front of the room, to my surprise, the doors opened and a huge group of brothers filled the back of the room. I'll never forget that moment, having all those men there to support me. When Alan's son, my nephew, turned to me and asked, "Uncle Phil, who are all those guys, and who sent all these flowers?" I responded, "Oh, they're fraternity brothers. You'll understand someday when you're a SIGIP too." Yes, I know what brotherly love is. But why do I tell you these stories? It's because I believe that almost every challenge we face can be overcome when we live by our cardinal principles. The past few years, we've had to close too many chapters due to frat boy behavior. In every case, it felt, to me at least, like a stab to the heart of Sigma Phi Epsilon. I think of the many young men who won't have the chance to experience the fraternity like I have, won't know the life-changing impact it can have, won't know the good times and the lifelong support network it brings. So let's not let that happen. I'm here tonight to ask our undergraduate brothers to be proactive in their brotherly love. You see, I believe brotherly love isn't just a feeling. Sometimes it's a decision. It's a decision to spend a little more of your budget on member development and community service, helping those that are less fortunate than us. It's a decision to enforce your academic standards for all those brothers whose lives are out of balance, but can get back on track with a little tough love from you. It's a decision to confront the brother who wants to be more fratty, more old school, more TFM, who wants to make the new guys earn it by hazing them just a little bit. And it's a decision to go to that brother who's clearly misusing alcohol. Tell him you love him and that there's a better way. That's brotherly love. That's how you can protect the future of your chapter and your brothers. And when we do that, people will take notice. Everyone will see that we live and breathe our values and principles. New recruits, parents, alumni, and university officials will be drawn to us like moths to a flame. They will say, you guys really are different, and you stand for something. So let's go out there and show the world who we are and what we believe in. Let's live our values every day. Let's spread the word that SIGEP is different. Let's bring more men into our brotherhood and help them learn the balanced man ideal and the power of our cardinal principles. And then we will reach our full potential. My brothers, I believe in the American College fraternity. I believe in Sigma Phi Epsilon. I believe that together we can change lives. And I believe in you. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.